Greetings all, Ferrariman601 here. I'm not entirely sure how you're going to be able to hear me here, nor am I sure if anybody is watching because I am streaming live at the moment. However, I am in Assetto Corsa, and that means that I can't actually see what's going on at real time. So I'm going to have to figure out a way to monitor any live stream chat that's maybe going on or anything like that. But yeah, let's see if I can pull this up and see if anybody is out there listening to this, because I want to see if it's possible for me to live stream Assetto Corsa. I tried live streaming iRacing many months ago and I was unable to see any sort of result from that. But let's see. I've pulled it up on my phone and I'm able to see it. It looks like there is about a 15-second delay from what I'm doing right now with the steering wheel versus what you're finally seeing there. Kenichi, rather, I see you. Yes, you are watching. Awesome. Let's see how I'm going to have to do this. Probably won't be able to read very much of the chat right now. Mike Smith, I see you. Awesome to see that you're here. It is coming up on, let's see, 12:45 p.m., so 15 minutes from 1 o'clock in the morning here on the east coast of the U.S., and I've got nothing better to do, so I figured why not try live streaming Assetto Corsa. I've wanted to do it for a long time. I haven't been able to make it work, but let's see if it's actually going to happen. Yes, Mike, this is the MP44. And we're at Imola. Now I'm going to have to figure out the best balance between the sound that's coming out of my speakers versus the encoded system sound that you're going to be able to hear on the video feed and my mic. There's a lot of stuff going on here, so bear with me as I try to adjust levels and things like that. Again, I'm just trying to see if this is actually going to work. I've never really tried it before. And of course I have to wrestle with the MP44 while I'm at it. If you hear any bumping and banging, that's because my microphone is sitting on top of the servo unit for my Thrustmaster wheel, and I'm using the TH8A shifter as well in the manual mode, so 7 gates there, so they're going to make a little bit of a clatter as I go up and down through the gears. See. So far I'm getting 30 frames per second, which is totally reasonable. Should be coming down to you guys at 720p. I can't do this in 1080 at the moment. I just don't have the processing power. But for a live stream you have to make some compromises, I think, and that's a reasonable one as far as I'm concerned. Big bump there on the start-finish straight. Almost made this a little bit interesting. I've taken the liberty to put the gear and speed display up there for you. I'm sure you've already seen that. Pedals in the lower left so you can get a sense of my very sloppy inputs here. Being late at night, I've been up all day obviously, but yeah, just trying to see if this is going to work. Also, I guess, if you guys are interested, maybe talk a little bit about Senna. Obviously, we are coming up on the anniversary of that absolutely terrible weekend at Imola 1994 where we lost Roland Ratzenberger on Saturday and Ayrton Senna on Sunday, and that was an absolutely terrible gear change. Still getting used to my new shifter, the TH8A. I just got it yesterday, and I haven't done too many laps with it so far, so just getting used to that gate. It's not like the old G27 shifter where you had a lot of wiggle room in terms of where the gears actually were. This one is very precise. You have to get it just right, unlike what I just did there at Variante Alta. Again, it's late. go back into the pits here and have a look at some comments that are probably being left. I wish I had like 17 eyes, if I could be honest. Let's see. Will I watch Sochi in 7 hours? Yes. Yes, I absolutely will. I actually missed qualifying this morning. I had a lot to do yesterday, and I was tired, and I slept through it, unfortunately. But I got caught up, back up to speed. I know we've got Sebastian Vettel on pole with Kimi Räikkönen right behind him. That's very good to see. Kimi Räikkönen seeming to find some form once again. He's been missing that. So definitely looking very much forward to Sochi in 7 hours. Yes, Senna absolutely was a genius driver. Thinking, obviously, a lot about Senna in the last few days coming up to this time of year. And I think he is almost as remarkable for how he was out of the car as he was in it, because I can't think of another driver who had the degree of intellect and eloquence that Senna had. He had the ability to talk to people and to reason with them, and you don't really see that too often from racing drivers, at least not publicly. Racing drivers at high levels obviously have to be very diplomatic in some regards and very aggressive in others, especially when they're trying to negotiate contracts and things of that nature. But Senna, he let it all show to the public, and he just had the charisma and the eloquence to be able to get you on his side, no matter how ridiculous the thing was he was trying to convince you of. So Senna, for me, as good a driver as he certainly was, he also just had a statesman mentality to him. I would definitely... I wouldn't call him the first statesman of Formula One. I think that honor probably goes to Jackie Stewart, but Senna definitely a statesman of Formula One, and Michael Schumacher definitely picked up the rest there. Limited passing at Sochi. Yeah. I don't like Sochi at all. I think it's a terrible track design. Again, it's another Tilkodrome, and I absolutely hate that absolutely interminable 180-degree corner. It's taken at full throttle, yes, but there's so much runoff that there's basically no risk in it. So not a big fan of Sochi at all, and of course the limited overtaking doesn't help its cause. Alright, let's see what we can do here at Imola. Got our lap times up there as well. Might be difficult to see them with the contrast there from the clouds, but I'll do what I can. They are just basically outside of my sight line for the apex. Only just. Getting fifth gear with this new shifter. I gotta develop my technique a little bit better. For those of you who don't know about the TH8A, it is a 7-speed gated shifter. So you've got to really slot it in to get everything to work. The good part about it is there are no real mechanical parts to it. Everything is done with magnetic Hall effect sensors, so there's effectively no component wear that's ever going to happen with this thing. But it does make it a little bit tricky to get it in and out of gear sometimes, just because of that gate. I've often wondered about that. I drive a manual transmission truck, actually, as my daily driver, so I'm very adept at driving a manual, but I've never driven a car that has a gated shifter, and I've always wondered, just does it make it more difficult, or does it have a tolerance for error as well as a traditional shifter boot does? But, yeah, getting used to the gate. Let's see here. How fast can we go? Hold on, 177, 180 down the straight. We're a bit slow down the straight. Too much wing. Absolutely terrible gear change. Again, that gate catching me out. Too much. I was running a few laps in this thing around Monaco last night, and I did manage to get some pretty good times in, but it's practice. A lot of practice. I got to refine that technique. I'm finding myself grabbing the shifter a bit lower down. I'm not actually grabbing the ball on top. I'm just grabbing the, pardon the possible puns here, but I'm grabbing the shaft of the shifter, and I'm finding that it's easier to slot it into gear that way. I have gloves on, so I'm not worried about pinching my fingers there in the gates, but it does seem to make it a little bit easier to be precise. A lot of people have also complained about the throw on the TH8A. I agree with them. The throw is a little long. Thrustmaster evidently did this to emulate as many real-world cars as possible, because, yeah, there are plenty of road cars that have reasonably long throws on their shifters, but Formula 1 car like this MP44, they had a throw that was so short that you could barely even see the stick move. So this is not the best analog for a car like this, but it's what I've got, so we will deal with it. It's a 137 with going off there, so there is a lot more time to be had even with this setup. I have way too much wing on the car right now, that much I do know. Yeah, don't even need 6th gear there. Too much wing, for sure. Little double clutch action there for you. I can usually get away with that. What's it gonna take my fatigued insomniac self to do a clean lap in this thing? Nice string of downshifts. Quite happy with that one. Alright, can we get a 130? I'd be happy with a 130. I might have to take some wing out of the car in order for that to happen. That was oversteer. So much oversteer, and that's the wall. And I just binned an MP44 live on the internet. That's slightly embarrassing. Let's cut to the chase and take that wing off. Take a fair amount of that wing off anyway. Not all of it, obviously, but let's take off some wing, not too much, and we'll just see how the car's feeling at the moment. Yeah, get down to the 135s. Focus. Yes. Well, my best so far is the 34, but that was far from a good lap. Let's see. How's our straight line speed? Better! I'll need 6th gear there once we're up to speed. There we go. The balance actually feels better with less wing as I spin. That's annoying. That's very annoying. My God. Nobody's ever going to be able to take me seriously again after watching this. I promise you I'm a good driver. yes, it's true that you don't really get to see much of the behind-the-scenes stuff in terms of when I make the videos, particularly the hot lap ones. Yeah, I do make a lot of mistakes on occasion, and there are a lot of things that do need to be edited out in some videos. But for the most part, things are done on the first attempt, so take that for what you will. Pesky fifth gear. Wait for the bump, there's the bump. Alright, well our straight line speed's improved a lot, 185. There's a bit of oversteer there and a bit of oversteer there on the power. I still don't quite need sixth there. I don't know if I really want sixth either. I could shorten the box a little bit, but on second thought, maybe I don't need it. Power oversteer there coming out of Tosa. Piratella. This is probably my favorite corner in all of motorsport because it looks so simple, but it's not. And then right on the exit, you dive down to Acqua Minerale, so it's... you gotta get Piratella just right. And then up the hill here, wheel spin with the 850-ish horsepower coming out of the MP44, locking both of the fronts. This is not so great. Come on, focus. You can do this. I've been in sim racing for like 18 years. I could do it. I know I could do it. Wheel spin there over the exit curbs. Have to back out of the throttle ever so slightly. I know a 130 is possible. I know it. Absolutely know it. Improvement of 2.5 seconds on that lap. Ooh, yay. Well, now that my heart is in my mouth, how did Senna do this? Honestly, how did Senna do this? How did Prost do this? How did Gerhard Berger do this? Nigel Mansell, etc. Go down the list of names. Any Formula One driver from the 1980s, I think they're all worthy of some sort of medal because there's no way that a human being should be allowed to do something this crazy. Late apex on purpose. Let's get it stopped. Alright, down 64 thousandths here from the last lap. Can we pull that back in the last sector? I think it's possible. A better exit from second Rivazza, there we go. Missing gears isn't going to help me. Almost there, I want a 130. Give me my 130 and I'll be okay with this. Man, that's light. That gets really light on the back end. Up 6/10, that'd be in the 130 category. Come on. Give me all of the turbo power. Try fourth gear. Build up that boost, there we go. Man, this thing is intense. This thing is really intense. Up 3/10. It means I gave away 3/10. Come on. Can we do it? 138.61. Okay. Alright. That's a high 130, but it's still a 130. No, there's still a little bit more time to extract out of that Villeneuve chicane. As far as Tosa, it's just about getting this thing stopped. Brakes on it are good, but they're 1988 brakes, so plan accordingly. Hitting the throttle there, using heel toe action but without downshifting, just to give it a little bit of blip on the gas between the two corners there of Acqua Minerale. Up 7/10, I made a mess of Variante Alta. Can we salvage anything? And that's a little hot into the Rivazza corners. We pull out anything spectacular. Okay, alright, I'll take half a second. Half a second is good. I still can't get over how light the back end gets there through the second element of Tamburello. It's just skating on that knife edge of adhesion. And when the boost comes in, the power oversteer is immense if the car is not pointed exactly in a straight line. Ooh, okay. Almost wanted to grab third gear there, thought better of it. $133.67, alright, we're running consistently now. That's okay. I guess I needed a couple laps to warm up, but a mess of Tamburello there. Can we salvage anything on the exit? We certainly can. Really dancing that back end. You know, we see videos, particularly trackside ones, of Senna on a qualifying lap, and he's just dancing the rear around for all it's worth, even in a straight line or just coming out of a corner. Driving a car like this, you understand how that happens, and Senna's not showing off there. He is simply driving the car. That's what these things do under power. They twist a little bit because the chassis rigidity, yes, they were very good, all carbon cars back then, but carbon composites have moved on so much in that 30 some odd years, so these cars still get a little bit of chassis flex from the torque from these big twin turbo engines. Let's see. That was almost ugly. Salvage something from it. There's that third gear reach. Gives me too much understeer. Don't like it. No third gear. Fuel light, 10 liters. That's a 130.474. We are running consistently. And I messed up my downshifts bigly. And I messed up my gearbox bigly. Man, I gotta tell you, if you were gonna do a Grand Prix distance in a car like this, yes, you would drive a little bit more conservatively, particularly in this era, because the reliability just wasn't there, but you had to be perfect every single time on a gear change, because if you were to grind second gear there like I did, even for 100 feet or so, you would have a gearbox problem straight away, and you'd probably end up retiring from the race, particularly if you damage one of the lower gears, because just getting the drive out of corners, particularly at a track like Imola, you need it so much. I'll also say something about the pedals. I'm using the T3PA pedals, also from Thrustmaster. I moved the brake pedal over to the right slightly to be a little bit closer to the gas, which I thought was going to help me with heel toe, but it's just making me mess up more. So I don't know if I should move it back to center or move it even over to the left a little bit, but I'm having to hit the accelerator again during the heel toe, but it's sort of going up against the side of my foot and it hurts. So just trying to figure out the best way to do that. Man, that's a bit of oversteer. These tires have lost their newness. Oh yeah, tires have really lost their newness. Let's see what's going on in the comments. Wow, a lot of you guys are here. I'm really happy to see that, actually. Let's have a look at the comments. Yes. Kenichi, yeah, do some laps in the car and see if you do this. You'll definitely beat me, I promise. Let's see. Hasobaso, if you don't get a 130 in the end, then you have to drive a Minardi for the rest of the week. I would drive a Minardi if there were any Minardi mods for Assetto Corsa. At the moment, I don't know of any. Grant Williams, look at that Lambo. Not a Lambo, sir. Yeah, I definitely know that I can get into the 128s here, but, well, first of all, I could put the soft tires on it. I could put a set of the qualies on it, and that alone might do it. Take the fuel load down, and that would totally do something. That's probably worth about a tenth a lap per liter you take out. Let's see. I'm happy with the wings. They're working well. I'm happy with the suspension alignments and ride height settings. The dampers also feel alright. Diff, maybe a little bit more power diff. And coast diff is alright, I think. Brake bias is fine, brake power is fine. So let's see, qualifying tires, only 12 liters of fuel on board. And we're going to see what we can do with this. How much boost am I running? I am running 100%, and you can confirm that right there. 100% across the top of the screen. now putting the quali tires on it, and that means we have to sort of tiptoe our way around our outlap because you'll knock the new out of them really, really fast. As the name suggests, the qualifying tires are designed to do qualifying laps, namely one qualifying lap. They're really, really soft, so they will grip the track straight away. They'll heat up very quickly, but that also means they will wear out very quickly. So I'm going to be a little bit cautious here on this outlap just to bring the tires up to temperature gradually. Can already feel that these qualies have a lot of grip in them. Yeah, no wheel spin that time coming out of Tosa. Just grip. Fistfuls of grip in this thing. With the qualifying tires, of course. But the hards on it, all of a sudden it skates like crazy. Which is to be expected. I mean, we're talking 1988. We have a front wing and we have a rear wing. And some semblance of a diffuser, but not much downforce on this. Also, the car only weighed 500 kilograms, so super light. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, probably all gentlemen, it's pucker time. If there are any ladies watching, please let me know. I want to go on a date with you. And that's a serious offer. Shit. You know, it's amazing. You're in the MP44, and the thing is oversteering like crazy through a 130-mile-an-hour corner. The back end's all sideways, you're applying opposite lock, and you still have time to say shit. It's amazing how fast the human brain can process things. Ah, that friggin' downshift, my god. And I dropped the mic, literally. Rest in peace to all of your eardrums. I apologize for that massively. Yeah, we're gonna have to put a new set of tires on this thing because they're now flat spotted to no return. I should just start skipping gears on the downshifts because what caught me out there going into Acqua Minerale was the downshift from 5th to 4th. When I need to end up in 2nd anyway, so why not just brake a little bit longer, double clutch into 2nd, which evidently works. Alright, so we want a new set of those E-compound tires. We're going to add a couple liters of fuel. Get us back up to that 12-liter or so margin. Repair any damage we have. I don't think we have any. Oh yeah, wait a second. No refueling in this era, and they've emulated that on this mod, so the pit stop is for nothing. We've got to go back and do it this way. Alright, I've got to get nasty now. And not nasty to my mechanical components like that. That's pitiful. This is a pitiful display of driving today. let's try my theory at least into Acqua Minerale. Why not just brake a little bit later, downshift into third, and grab second that way? Should work. Sequential downshifting in a car like this is, I like to do it because I think it keeps the back end a little bit more stable, but it also opens you up to more errors. So it's a compromise like anything else in racing. Come on, what can we do? Something that's not going to blow my engine up would be nice. All right, third. Second. That was better. Up by a second. Up by 1 second. Man, I just love that crack, though, when you get back on the power in the middle of a corner. Great, great sound. 128.659. I don't remember who said it, but you said that the 128s are possible. Yes! Yes, they are. And now these quali tires are probably rooted. See, guys, I can get my act together. I promise. The stopwatch does not lie. All of the wheel spin. Love the wheel spin. You have to drive these kinds of cars so flamboyantly. It's great. It often makes me wonder, if racing drivers couldn't be racing drivers, what would they be? Would they still be athletes? Or would they want to be artists of some kind? Because the kinds of things that you've got to make these cars do are truly worthy of art. I mean, I'm not a racing driver. If I could be, I would be. But I am very much interested in the arts and being artsy and creative and whatever, and drawing funny pictures with my tire marks on the tarmac. But yeah, so a 128.659 is where we stand at the moment. It is possible, ladies and gentlemen, to do a 128 in this car at Imola on the qualifying tires, albeit, but there it is. I gotta figure out why I'm not having a very good travel here on my clutch pedal. Oh, there's a wire behind it. That would explain it, as I bumped the car a few times. I've still got some obstruction there behind my clutch pedal. Gonna have to figure that out, because that's not conducive to changing gear. Maybe that's also why I'm getting some misshifts here. Not trying to make too many racing driver excuses, but that's a slight issue. And yeah, there are no obstructions behind that clutch, and I'm still not getting full disengagement there, so that's something for me to investigate. But I don't know, maybe that's having some impact on my gear changes. I don't think so, because we're not talking about much, but the clutch is on the floor right now, and I don't have full disengagement, so maybe that's something to investigate. But again, not trying to make too many excuses. Let's see. Going through the comments here. Yes, this is Imola. Let's see. .98T on full boost. I think perhaps perhaps that's something that should happen. I don't know if it's going to cut the feed when I go to change the car, but I'm going to go and get that .98T, and we're going to drive that at full boost, and that is a real monster. You thought the MP44 was bad, the .98T is worse. So I'm going to go out of the sim right now and pick up the .98T and come back to Imola. I don't know if it's going to cut the live feed though, so stick around if it does. I will be back within about 2 minutes. Greetings all, we are back, and that is the Lotus 98T here at Imola. My god, how am I gonna... Alright, I have a setup from Barcelona. Do I want to use that as a base? I don't think so. Let's see. Do I have any other setups preloaded? Brands Hatch might be decent. Where is Brands? There we go. I don't have a setup for Brands Hatch in this car. Am I nuts? I'm really disappointed in myself right now. I don't have a Brands Hatch setup for the 98T. Alright, so let's go make a setup then. The default is terrible on this car. The top speed is absolutely down in the toilet, so we'll just change that final drive ratio right away. And just having a look at the ratios here in the rest of the box, things are looking okay, so we'll see how that goes. We'll go on the medium tires for the moment. Definitely don't need 195 liters in the tank. See the car pop up after you take that fuel out. Turbo, 70% is the max that you can run in the race. Anything higher than that is going to start to damage the engine, so we'll start at 70% boost. The wings probably can afford a little bit less on the rear, but not too much less. Alignment, the cambers, we'll leave that alone. I'll add a little bit of rake, so we'll lower that front ride height. Wheel rates should be okay. Anti-roll bars, they're a bit stiff in this car. I'll lower them a tad. Rears should be fine. Diff, big thing in this car. I like it to lock at high power output, so you get a little bit more sliding action going on. We'll do 100% boost in a couple of minutes, don't worry. I just want to feel the setup out first. But 100% will be on the way, I do promise you. You see, I have the clutch on the floor and we've taken off, so yeah, something's definitely not right with my clutch pedal. I don't know if it's a calibration issue or if it's something wrong with the pedal itself. I'll have to investigate that when I can. There's the boost. So much boost. We're at 70% now, running 3.7 bar. For those of you who are more familiar with PSI, that is about 80 bazillion PSI. No, it's actually about 30, but you get the idea. That's a lot of air to be rammed into that engine. No, it'd have to be a bit more than 30 psi because bar is a measure of atmosphere at sea level 101 something thousand pascals atmospheric pressure. So bar is atmosphere. 1 bar is 1 atmosphere, 2 is 2 atmospheres, and atmospheric pressure in psi is 14.7, so it's around 40-ish psi. It's in the 40s. I'm not that good in math. Well, that was slightly hair racing. Okay. Wow. Oh, that's boost. You know, the modern cars, they accelerate so fast because they have the electronic boost, the battery discharge, and yeah, it's a lot of power. About 980 horsepower from a modern F1 car, but in qualifying trim, this one has 1,200-ish. So if you're talking about acceleration, this is it. It's so death-defying. There's our boost, 100%. 5 bar of boost. The engine is screaming for mercy. And you're left sawing away at the wheel at every possible opportunity. Don't hit the wall, don't hit the wall. It didn't hit the wall. That was wheel spin in what? 4th gear? 4th gear, I think that was. And it's twitchy, as you can see. Five bar of boost. Wheel spin all the way through 3rd gear and into 4th gear. Oh man. 1,200 horsepower at 5 bar. This thing should be illegal. And they did make it illegal, consequently. I do have to wonder that if the intake manifold, the big plenum on top of the engine, if that thing blew up at 5 bar, would the blast wave, the concussion coming out of that explosion, would that be enough to do damage to a person standing too close? I've got to wonder, because 5 bar is a lot of pressure. 132.078. Got 21 liters of fuel on board on the medium tires, remember? Whoa. Yeah. You know it's serious when you're feathering the throttle in a straight line because the wheel spin is too bad. Man, I will say, though, that these cars have so much soul. If cars could talk, what would a Lotus 98T say? There's a question for all of you. No, I've got to confess, I haven't driven this car in a long time. I think I forgot just how ridiculous it is. Yeah, you know, just a colossal amount of oversteer through Acqua Minerale, no problem. 1200 horsepower, you're going sideways. Nah, no big deal. Don't blow up before I get to the line, please. And it blew up. It blew up! Hooray! I think we might have been on for a 129 there, but even with the engine gone, we still did a 131.559. Not too bad. 128's definitely in this car as well, on those qualifying tires and on lower fuel, so let's do that for a moment. Let's see. Take the fuel out. Only need enough for an out lap, a hot lap, and an in lap, technically speaking. Qualifying tires! Oh yeah, this is gonna be fun here. Looking at the comments here. Yes, warp speed, shit in pants, absolutely. Yes, it is possible to turn off damage and just run the engine at full boost, but it takes away from the realism. This engine is only designed to run at full boost for 2 laps. And in 1986, Renault, who were the engine supplier for Lotus, they built a whole set of special qualifying engines. I think they had lightweight pistons and things like that, and beefed up big end bearings to deal with that boost. but those qualifying engines were only used in qualifying, and they were only used for a handful of laps at that full boost. So running this thing at full boost, you'd get 2-3 laps out of it, and then as you just saw, it goes bang. So that is realistic. Alright, so qualifying tires, low fuel. Can we do a 128 like we did in the MP44? I do think it's possible. The 44 is faster than the 98T. This I do know for fact, but we're just going to have a look and see what's possible here. See just how much more slowly the engine picks up revs without the boost, only running at 10% here. The revs drop so quickly that I've got to stab the gas between gears on the upshift. Alright, Lotus, what have you got? There's race boost. And there is quali boost. Man, I overcorrected in the first part of that corner. There was a very, very slight slide on the rear. I felt it, but by the time I corrected it, it had resolved itself. So I just ended up making an unnecessary movement that caused a problem. That's the problem of having a brain that can have a mental reaction time within 1/100th or so of a second, but then having arms that can only be triggered to move within 1/10th of a second, because in the, I don't know, the 50th of a second that came in between there, the problem fixed itself. And by the time you realize it, it's all gone anyway. Yeah, no problems here. Just drifting my way around Imola with 1200 horsepower. Everything is status quo. Man, you've really got to dig deep to stay on full power through some of these bumpy sections. Missed the apex of the first element there. Had to overcompensate for the second one. I think we got away with it. It's a 130.878. Too busy looking at the lap time there, but these tires are rooted anyway. And the engine is crying enough, it's starting to sputter as I'm accelerating. Let's go back to the pits. Into a bit of an odd problem here. I don't know why, but you see how the car's just sort of undulating back and forth under acceleration? I don't know what's going on. Is that my clutch causing that problem? Could be. Yeah, if I put the clutch in, it goes away. Huh. Some pedal issues there. Yeah, the clutch is not fully disengaging, nor is it fully engaging. I have got myself a clutch problem, folks. And it is something to do with the pedal itself, rather than anything obstructing it, as far as I can tell. Just sort of looking in there and trying to see if there are any obstructions or anything in there, but no, there are none. I do get this odd clicking sound from the clutch pedal, though. I'm trying to figure out what that is, but it's starting to impair my ability to drive the car, because the clutch is not fully engaging or disengaging, and it's making the car sputter. Which is really bad for what I'm trying to do. Yeah, you can see there on the clutch trace that we're not fully disengaged, and that's a problem. That's a really big problem. Like that's going to keep me from improving my lap time at all. It's going to keep me from driving the car at all. That's not good. I hate to think of the possibility that I might have to open up these pedals being pretty much brand new, but I think that's what I'm going to have to do, and I think I'm going to have to call it quits on driving for the moment, because that's not good. I have the clutch on the floor and we're continuing to accelerate a bit even though there's a ton of clutch slip. And then even here, it's not fully disengaging. That's a problem. I'm going to try to recalibrate and see if that'll solve the problem, but something tells me it won't. I'll be back very, very shortly. Alright, so we are back here in the 98T, and my very temporary workaround for this problem is just to change the range settings on my clutch, just so that AC will recognize the clutch throw from about midway down the pedal travel to the end, and hopefully that will solve the problem for our purposes. But it does look like I'm going to have to open up the pedal box and figure out what's going on in there. But as you can see now, clutch on the floor, I'm revving the engine, and we're not moving. So that's behaving as it should. It's also made the clutch bite a lot more fierce, so that's something to get used to. But I'm running at about 40% of the total travel of the pedal, doing 100% of the work for the clutch. So I'm going to have to figure out what's going on there. But in the meantime, it does mean that we can continue to drive, and we want to try and get a 128 in this thing. We are back on the qualifying tires, 10 liters of fuel on board, so hopefully we'll be able to do something. Clutch pedal making a whole lot of noise, lots of creaking sounds coming from it. The other pedals do not sound like that at all, so something's probably misaligned in there, causing my potentiometer issue. I dropped the mic! I can't do anything about it right now. 'Probably the only thing you can hear is my shifter. $129,997. Okay, so maybe not a 128, but it's a 129. And dealing with some technical issues, that's not too bad, I must say. But still, that's rather annoying. Do not have any idea what's going on with that clutch pedal, but it's some sort of a mechanical problem for sure. Yeah, something does not sound right in there. I initially thought maybe there was a wire that was sort of stuck in behind the pedal. But, man, I keep dropping that stupid mic. That's annoying. I'll have to fix that if I'm ever going to do this again. But, yeah, I'm going to have to take the pedals apart, I fear, because that is well and truly not correct. But we're still trying to get a 128 out of this thing. I know it's possible. It's just a question of how much persistence do I have at 2 a.m. here on the east coast of the United States. Not much left, I must say. Let us see what we can do. Fuel lights on already, because we are running extremely light here, 10 liters. Alright, full boost. I don't know how I held anything in that first sector. Not a clue. One 132.51. We're down a little bit. Up 5/10. 29,296. Still not good enough. It's so close to a 28. It's really close to a 28. 29,296. Our best time. If we lower the tire pressures a little bit on all four corners. Fuel's not going anywhere. Wings aren't going anywhere. It's really a question of making one corner marginally better, and that'll get us into the 128s. Yeah. Alright, starting the lap. Yes, there is a lot of short shifting going on. Just to control the wheel spin. $128, 458. That's the lap. Oh yeah, that's the lap. Simply because, yes. Yes, it is. That is one difficult thing to do. I will say that. What did this look like from outside? You know it looked good. Let's just marvel at the detail here on the replay. Another thing that gets me about this car is that you get out of the corners and you're on full power and everything feels good enough in terms of where the car's at with the chassis dynamics and the grip and the wheel spin, all that stuff. But when you look at the replays, particularly out of the final corner there, I'm going into fourth gear and you see a twitch from the back end that I wasn't even aware of in the moment. Just incredible, the amount of craziness that these turbo cars get into. It's something that's just unreal. It's why these cars are legendary, and it's why we revere the drivers who drove them, because I mean, come on. This is a sim. I'm sweaty. My heart rate definitely hit about 140 at points during this little extravaganza. So, again, just doing that in a sim is hard work. I can't even imagine doing that for real. But that is going to call it quits here for me tonight. It's very, very early in the morning here. But, yeah, I've been up for a long time, and I totally need to get some sleep. But, yeah. I hope you guys enjoyed this little test, and I think it's a proof of concept that I can definitely use my capture software here to live stream Assetto Corsa. 720p, yeah, maybe it's not the best, but it's certainly watchable. And yeah, I'm definitely going to be looking at doing these kinds of things in the future. So to those of you who are still here, thank you very much for watching. I've enjoyed doing this. And I will definitely see you soon. And yes, we're definitely going to be watching the Russian Grand Prix tomorrow morning my time, or actually later this morning now. Coming to us from Sochi, it's going to be a very interesting race. It definitely seems to have Ferrari written all over it for the moment, but everything is to play for in Sochi. But until next time, Ferrariman601 saying thank you very, very much for being here, and we will see you soon.